After a thrilling one-up Turbo Truck Series race yesterday, the Nitro National drivers get their turn at it for 67 laps around this very fast mile-and-a-half racetrack in Las Vegas, Nevada. We're here for the Stratosphere 300. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm sure, as is the case every time we head out west to Las Vegas. Alongside me in the booth today, just as it was for the Turbo Truck Series race, is Duke Anzac once again. And this race is going to be a lot more similar to what we expect to see from a Las Vegas race. High speeds, but these cars are going to get spread out, and we've got a pit stop to make in this race. So because this is the highest fuel consumption track on the schedule. So expect these guys to pit for fuel, and that could change the outcome of this race altogether.
Yeah, for sure. You know, this is gonna be the type of race where it's gonna be a lot of just hanging in there, making sure you're part of it, and making sure that pit stop is good. Because we can assume safely that this is gonna be a green flag pit stop. Of course, anything can happen, but the likelihood is that it'll be a green flag pit stop today. And green flag pit stops are tough. You know, these drivers don't deal with green flag pit stops on a extremely frequent basis. So it's about getting that car slowed down, getting into the pit lane, keeping your speed consistent all the way through. You've been going 220 mile an hour around this place, and then you get into the pits and you're going way slower than that. So maintaining that, and then of course getting into the pits, letting the crew do their job, getting back out, and you know, it's going to be some strategy involved with this thing, and that's what we like to see here at Las Vegas. So I am excited to watch it, and we've got a lot of familiar faces up front, like usual here at Las Vegas, and I'm excited to start watching these guys race.
Interestingly, the top 5 in qualifying all have never won a race before in the One-Up Nitro National Series, as we can give you the full starting lineup now. Kyle Corbett leading the way. He gets his first career pole in the Robbers Racing 66, and alongside him it's an all-green front row. Logan Williams takes the Moto Dash Racing 23 up to P2 on the board. Cody Goforth lines up third with AJ Jones alongside him. Ricky Freeman Jr. rounds out the top 5, but behind those 5, the next 5 all have wins, and they're all going to be challenging these guys. Alex Verget-Barube is there, defending champion Ryan Caggiano is there, Dylan Young and Joshua Michaels also in prime contention position. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be one of those top 5, or is it going to be one of the ones behind them?
You know, I don't have a good answer to that question. I mean, it's anybody's race here. Of course, these guys, top 5, haven't won a race, and they qualified ahead of all these drivers that have won races here. So it's you know, it's gonna be intense. It's gonna be tough. I think that long run speed is gonna be a big factor in today's race, and of course, guys that are good on the long run. Typically, you got Alex Verget-Barube, Ryan Caggiano. You know, they're starting close enough to the front that, you know, when you get a long run, if they're still running in that spot they are starting in, you know, they'll start to work their way through the field towards the end of that run before the pit stop. So we're gonna have to see. It's gonna be a lot of fun to watch. See how these drivers without that winning experience hold off everybody who knows how to do it.
So with that being said, we're lined up on the grid for 67 laps here at Las Vegas. It is the Stratosphere 300, and the green flag is next. Stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss a second of the heart-pounding action here in the desert at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. It's all green on the front row with Kyle Corbett on the inside, Logan Williams on the outside. Heading into the restart zone, the green flag is out, and the Stratosphere 300 is underway at Las Vegas. Kyle Corbett gets a good jump on the field. Logan Williams and Cody Goforth now side by side for second as they barrel off into turn 1 on the first of 67 tours around this track.
Yeah, the inside lane is the place to be, going full throttle into turn 1. No reason to lift. Turn 1, lap 1 right there. But now we got Ricky Freeman Jr. on the bottom in that 91, looking really good and making a move for second place.
It only took him one lap to get from 5th on the grid to 2nd at the end of lap 1. Kyle Corbett leads the first lap, but I doubt he'll stay there, because here comes Ricky Freeman Jr. with help from Ryan Caggiano, but he's got to back out a tiny bit. He's going to stay on the quarter panel at a 66, and that could play a big factor going into turn 3, but Corbett shuts the door on him, so now it's Kyle Corbett still out in the lead of this race.
Yeah, and while this race isn't going to be a big pack, as we see Ricky Freeman Jr. going to the very bottom there, he gets to the quarter panel, a little bit of help from the 81 before he goes to the top, but the inside lane is going to do him well. Here, they're going 3 wide for second place. I was about to say that, you know, it won't be like the truck race where it's a huge pack like we see at Pensacola, but draft will be a factor today. You get big draft off these spoilers in these cars. They punch a hole in the air that you can get in and really make a difference. And right now we're seeing it. Ricky Freeman Jr. up front in this race.
Now Joshua Michaels makes a move from 9th on the grid under Dylan Young in the 92 for 2nd, but he's got to back out of that. Dylan Young holds steady in 2nd. But now it's the 2 Kings Motorsports cars lined up nose to tail. We saw how dangerous this combination was at Pensacola. So this is going to be an interesting battle to keep an eye on between the Fords and the Toyotas. 2 Fords leading 3 Toyotas now. 4 Toyotas. The first Chevrolet, Kyle Corbett in 7th, followed by another Toyota, Zachary DeLello. But now, Ricky Freeman Jr. is starting to get a pretty big lead. That's something we don't usually hear often, because normally when Ricky Freeman Jr. leads a race, it's at a super speedway where you can't get that big a lead. But now, he's settling into this finish line motorsports team very well, and he's led the last 5 laps.
Yeah, I mean, what an incredible start from Ricky Freeman Jr. I mean, to start in 5th place, of course, you have that advantage of being in the bottom lane. Of course, here comes the move now as we're starting to talk about it. But yeah, just an incredible run on the bottom to start this race. Take the lead early, but now Dylan Young is looking really good on the inside, right like Ricky Freeman Jr. did it. And he's going to lead this lap. Oh, just by a nose led that lap the 92 did. By a 1/100th of a second there, the 92 led. And now we got a little bit loose on the inside. It almost looked like something happened there, and it allowed Ricky Freeman Jr. to get a run on the outside, and he's going to be able to maybe sneak in front and keep the lead. An incredible job around the outside from Ricky Freeman Jr.
So Ricky Freeman Jr. has the lead off of turn 4 to complete lap number 7. So after Dylan Young's lone lap in the lead of this race so far, Ricky Freeman Jr. has now taken over as the man in charge of this race. He's led at least 5 laps so far. That is, I believe, his first laps led in the Nitro National Series. So good job from him. And now we can focus on this battle for 5th place between Cody Goforth. Actually, it's the Team Dayspring drivers working together. Cody Goforth and Zachary DeLello making moves up into the top 5. Goforth up to 5th, DeLello to 6th. And after their teammate Ryan Arnold posted that massive upset at Hillside last time out, these two are trying to cement themselves as worthy contenders as well, and they're doing just that in the top 10.
Yeah, you know, it's been a real good week, and yeah, they're starting to come alive. That team is, and they're having a really good time. Here's the 42 running in 8th right now, looking really good in that Dodge.
That's Austin Tyler making his first appearance in the top 10 this season. Doing a pretty good job in that 42, as is his rookie teammate Kasim Adnan, running just outside the top 10 in 13th. But back in the lead of this race, it is Ricky Freeman Jr., with now Ryan Caggiano behind him, as he has gotten around Dylan Young with help from Kyle Corbett and Cody Goforth. But looking now through the rest of the field, we've already got a field spread of about 4.5 seconds. That's more than we had at any point during the truck race yesterday.
Yeah, you know, and that's just a product of a different style of race car, you know. It doesn't punch as big of a hole in the air as the trucks do, and of course, they're going significantly faster, you know, so it's just a different type of racing we have here, even though it's the same track. But the draft, as we're seeing, is still a big factor, and Ryan Caggiano is right up behind Ricky Freeman Jr., as has everyone else in second place. Has been still right up on the bumper of this leader. But man, that 91 car is able to just keep everyone at bay somehow, some way. Keeps the lead lap after lap, putting on a really good showing for that team today.
And you know, as Ryan Caggiano tries to make a move but backs out of that, this is exactly what Ricky Freeman Jr. needed after a pretty dismal season in the Superstar Series a year ago. He moves down to the Nitro National Series with the same team. He's given a second chance at Finish Line Motorsports, and he's putting it to good use. This is the first time we've really seen Ricky Freeman Jr. be a solid contender for a race win outside of the super speedways, and he's doing a pretty good job. As a matter of fact, Ricky Freeman Jr. has now led more laps in this race than anybody did in the truck race yesterday. So it's a very strong run from the 91, but this race is just getting started still.
Yeah, you know, and some interesting things I saw as we were cycling through the leaderboard a few laps ago. The 3 car has fallen all the way back to 18th in this race, and a couple other guys that started maybe on the outside just had a horrible start, while the 91 started in 5th place and was in the lead on lap 2. So, you know, this is it's a little bit of a lopsided race right now that we've got here, but these guys are all looking really good, especially this top, what is it, 6 cars? Yeah, there's 6 guys up here, all kind of in the same draft, and they're tight, held on together within about a half second of each other. Looking really good, and there's a move for 3rd place.
That's Cody Goforth inside Kyle Corbett. We're about a third of the way through this fuel run right now. Expect the pit stops to come at or around lap 40. But these cars, this is, like I said in the pre-race, this is one of the highest fuel consumption tracks we have, because these cars are going foot to the floor the entire time, and you can see it on an average speed tracker. Well above 204 miles per hour average around this 1.5-mile track. That is amazing for these Nitro National cars to contend with, and just imagine what the Superstar cars will do tomorrow as Ryan Caggiano makes a move for the lead.
Yeah, and this might finally bid farewell to the lead for Ricky Freeman Jr. after leading so much at the beginning of this race. The 81 had got a really good run, got by him, and now has cleared him going into turn 1 and put the 81 on top for the first time today. Really nice move to put him in the lead, and he's driving away.
But critically, Ricky Freeman Jr. settles back into 2nd. Kyle Corbett did not have enough of a run to get around him as well. So now, as we take a look back through the rest of the top 10 here, this is the battle for 9th between Autumn Koger and Austin Tyler. Keon Daly runs just outside the top 10, and boy does he need a good run. He is outside the top 30 in points, and he needs a strong run here to boost himself back into the playoff picture, because he maybe have a championship runners-up hangover for Keon Daly, but he needs a strong run here. And so far, he's doing a pretty good job running just outside the top 10, but I'm sure he'd love to get up there and race with the leaders. As we look back at Austin Tyler's teammate, Kasim Adnan, in the 1, the Syrian driver having a strong run in just his 2nd career start. He runs 12th in this race, the last car within a real striking distance of the lead, because everybody else is well beyond 3 seconds behind.
Yeah, real strange situation that has happened here, as Ricky Freeman Jr. is fighting back against Ryan Caggiano right there for the lead. He's right up on his bumper, but yeah, really fascinating to see how those other cars have kind of fallen so far off the pace. I guess that something must have happened to cause that. Of course, we might not ever know what happened to cause that separation, but right now, the leaders getting really racy.
And right now, it is a 2-man battle for the lead. Ricky Freeman Jr. trying to get ahead of Ryan Caggiano to retake the lead that he loved so much. But behind them, the battle for 3rd is heating up between Joshua Michaels, who now clears everybody he was fighting with, and now he's going to try and draw up close to Ricky Freeman Jr. as he now goes for the lead into 3.
Yeah, Ricky Freeman Jr. made a good move there. He's on the bottom lane. Ooh, he's not going to get clear, but that outside lane isn't good enough for the 81, who's going to get passed by 2 cars, it looks like here. Move back to 3rd place in the field. Ricky Freeman Jr. back out front. Really strong performance from that 91 car today. Looking really good, even after losing the lead. Has gotten back out front. Now he's getting hounded by that 18 car. This is gonna be a fun battle between these 3 all day today and all season probably. They're all really good in this series, and right now they look fantastic in this race.
And here they come, barreling down the front straightaway, going into turn 1. All of these cars with a good shot at winning this race, but no one's got a better view than Ricky Freeman Jr., who has dominated this race so far. He's led the majority of the laps so far, and if he can hold on to win this race, that'll offer him a serious second look by the Finish Line Motorsports team for possibly a re-promotion to the Superstar Series in 2023. You never know, but right now, he's focused on this race only as he shuts the door on Joshua Michaels really tight to hold on to the lead.
Yeah, you know, you're right. And this season is all about getting experience for Ricky Freeman Jr., getting some wins, getting finding out how to win. Of course, here's a move for second place between second and third, and they're still side by side. It looks like the 18 ended up getting a really good run. Maybe the 81 got loose there or something, but yeah, Ricky Freeman Jr. down here in the Nitro National Series fighting for his life. You know, they could have just sent him to the curb and said, "See you later. You didn't do what we needed you to, and we're gonna move on." But they gave him a shot down here in the Nitro National Series, and absolutely, Ricky Freeman Jr. taking big advantage of it, and it's turned out really good so far. And look at this, we're about to be 3 wide for second place. They're getting racy, nearing the pit stop here on older tires, and the 92 has to check up a little bit there. That's going to separate these guys a little bit, and man, oh man, it's getting dicey up front. And this whole top 10 is within a second now. This is a good race right now we've got for the lead.
And notice that Keon Daly has made his way up into the top 10. He passed Koger, Tyler, and Goforth to move up into the 8th spot. Now he's passed Corbett to get up to 7th, so Keon Daly's making a charge. There he is, right behind teammate Nicky Martinez, as now he gets around Austin Tyler in the 42. He's got help from a fellow Toyota in Cody Goforth, but back up to the... Well, we're still focused on this battle for 5th, it looks like, because Keon Daly is on a tear. He must have heard us talking about how much he'd like to race up front with the leaders, and now Keon Daly is up in the top 5.
Yeah, look at that. I mean, that car has come alive in this portion of the race. He must have managed his tires really well, and maybe he's just got a really good long run car, or a combination of both, because right now he is on a tear coming up through this field.
And right now, all 4 of King's Motorsports full-time drivers are running in the top 10. You got Caggiano 2nd, Michaels 4th, Daly 5th, and Martinez 7th. The only King's Motorsports car that's not up there is their part-time car, Cale Tesker Jr. He started near the back, though, so he's trying to fight his way back to the front. But as far as their full-time guys are concerned, they're all running in the top 10 and putting on a very strong effort for the King's Motorsports.
These guys are all getting really racy back here in this part of the group, of course. And then here we're looking at this 04, and he's farther back in this pack. I'm not actually sure where he is, but
he's running 13th. He's leading the second group with both Team Duke cars in there, Ironhouse and Alex Vergepperud, with AJ Jones in between. Eric Monaco is there, Aaron Hall is there, and there is that brightly colored 84 of Ryan Silber making his first Nitro National start of the season in his D4 Motorsports number 84, and he is running 19th, just ahead now of Logan Williams, who's fallen quite a ways back from his second position starting spot, because now Kean Rivers has gotten around him to move into the top 20. Now Williams is now outside the top 20 after an outside pole starting spot. It's amazing, really. And a lot of these guys back here, Cale Tesker Jr., Alexa Lushon's back here. These are cars I expected to contend, like Cale Tesker Jr., Alexa Lushon, that 00 Sandinoto who won this race a year ago. And last week's winner, Ryan Arnold's back here, too. So a lot of these guys, we expected to have strong runs, they're just not having it here today. And further back, I can see that yellow 57, that's Yates Turzik, who's had 3 top 10s in the first 3 races, driving his own car this week for Diamondback Motorsports. He's just having a rough go of it here, as now we see one on pit road early. That is John Mcfaden in the 76. He's had a rough start to this season, and it looks like he had to make an early pit stop here. He'll bolt on 4 fresh tires on that Tag Heuer Chevrolet, but it's a tough break for John Mcfaden because he's had a rough go of it this season. He had a mechanical failure at Road Atlanta. He failed to take advantage of pole at Pensacola and just had an overall bad weekend at Hillside. But we'll see what he can make out of this race because he doesn't have the pit anymore. All the other cars ahead of him do.
Yeah, I was about to say he might actually get a little bit lucky with that early pit stop, but he was in there for quite a while, so I don't know. He's going to probably lose more time than he would gain by the short pit. So regardless of that, we've got quite the battle up here for the lead. Still, it's the 91 leading. the 81 and the 92, who's making a move for second place. Not going to be enough there on this lap, and we are closing in on that pit stop. Of course, right now is a little bit early than we expect them to pit. But yeah, closing in on that window that we expect these guys to be in. And here comes the 76 back out on the track. I think that was too long of a pit stop to really give much of an advantage, unscheduled to be certain.
You know, he's currently about 3 laps down in that 76. He might get a few of those back when everybody else pit, but now you can see Patrick Smith trying to... Oh, he might actually play defense and try and keep his track position, and that might allow the Team 2 cars to double-team Patrick Smith and get around him, so move the 8 and the 3 up a spot apiece. And it looks like they're going to take Eric Monaco and AJ Jones with them.
Yeah, they both made that move right there. A heads-up move from these two. It looks like they're maybe working together a little bit, those cars matching in design. But yeah, you know, and now they're... well, it looks like Alex is going to try to go to the bottom here. 3 wide with John Mcfaden. Not going to be enough of a run to make that move. And, of course, they're not really in contention for the win of this race. They might be able to sneak into the top 10, depending on the pit strategy. We will see. However, the 91 is still leading this race, and he's still ahead of Ryan Caggiano. I think that these guys have kind of decided let's not race right now. Let's wait, see what happens in the pit stops. Let's just ride. Let's not wreck each other and make it to that pit stop, and then it's going to be a gloves off, sleeves up, fight to the finish after that pit stop.
I don't think Joshua Michaels is listening, because he tried to make a move on Dylan Young for third that didn't quite work out, but now it is a Kings Motorsports 245 right now with Caggiano, Michaels, and Daly. Martinez isn't that far behind either in 8th. So, like I said before, Kings Motorsports having a very strong run in this race, and I'm sure if one of them could get by Ricky Freeman Jr. here, they would be in contention for this race win without a doubt. But now Michaels gets underneath Dylan Young, and he's going to take his teammate Daly with him. So this is going to be an interesting battle, as now we've got some takers on pit road. Yep. Cody Goforth was running in the top 10. He comes in the pit. Kasim Adnan follows him in. And a couple more are coming in with them. Aaron Hall's coming. Robert Weaver is joining them. So these are the first cars we've seen from the lead groups hit pit road, and I think a few more are going to come in with them. Yes, There's Ryan Caggiano. He bites first among the lead pack. Kyle Corbett comes with him. Autumn Koger, Nicky Martinez, Zachary DeLello, and I see Eric Monaco back there as well. They're all coming in. My question is, when does Ricky Freeman Jr. join them?
Yeah, you know, I think as soon as Ricky Freeman Jr. doesn't have any help in the draft anymore, he's going to have to come down in the pit lane. I think that if you still have a little bit of drafting help, you're going to want to stay out there. And right now, he's coming into the pits. Yep, and they're all coming into the pits. Every single one of them in this front group, they're heading down the pit lane, and that's a really good move. I'm so curious to see what is going to happen. Here comes the rest of the group as well. Just about everybody on the pit lane now.
Oh, geez, we got a huge a really stacked pit lane here.
Wow, it looks like a caution.
Almost everybody pits, with the exception of 2. The 54 of Kean Rivers stayed on the racetrack to get a bonus point for leading the lap, and I believe the 38 of Talon Soplu is joining him out there as well. There he is in the 38. So the 54 is going to pit here after getting his bonus point for leading the lap. I'm sure Talon Soplu was hoping for the same thing, but he too will come down to pit as well. That should complete the cycle, and Ryan Caggiano is the first one out of the pits. I wonder if he's going to take the lead because of that undercut.
Yeah, we'll see it here if he will take the lead.
Yeah.
It's going to be close.
Yeah, we'll wait and see where Ricky Freeman Jr. comes out. You see him passing a couple cars coming down the pits.
Daly down there. He's going to be behind these guys.
Yeah, Freeman and Michaels came out ahead of Ryan Caggiano, but the key is they're on cold tires. Yep. Caggiano's had a few laps to warm his up, and now he swoops around the outside of Joshua Michaels. They're going to be side by side behind him, but Ricky Freeman Jr. is going to have a healthy lead in this race of about about half a second actually. This is in what I imagine going to be a big surprise for a lot of these guys at the front of the field, because the overcut seemed to be the way to go here. Yeah, even though Ryan Caggiano is gaining on these guys, on the leader just a little bit, and now he's making a move for the lead.
You know, I think that the difference was that when the 91 and the 18 stayed out, they still had the draft, and when the 81 came out of the pits, he was all by himself. He had no draft out there, and there isn't a huge gap between old tires and new tires as far as lap time goes, especially when you're in the draft. So those two staying out that extra lap or two with the draft helped them kind of stay on the same playing field as the 81 car. Of course, now it's just these three up front. We're about to see the gap. It looks like it's about 0.8 of a second behind them, and look at that, the 91, not only is he leading the race, he also has the fastest lap.
That's his teammate Autumn Koger that holds that, actually.
Oh.
But this is what I imagine to be the big surprise of the race so far. Yates Turzik running all the way back in 40th position right now. He has had 3 top 10s in the first 3 races. He entered this race second in points, but a massive shock to the Nitro National Series that Yates Turzik, after such a strong start to the season, is now likely going to finish well outside the top 30 here. So he will most definitely lose that. It just goes to show the difference in performance between his own Diamondback Motorsports equipment and that of the Coda Racing System team he drove for the last 2 races.
Yeah, that is shocking. Of course, you know, sometimes you just have a day like that though, where everything stinks, and that's the kind of day he's having right now. I'm sure there will be a bounce back at some point in the season. Of course, right now he's got a good cushion of points to lean on, so hopefully it all works out. However, right now these 3 up front are nose to tail all the way around this track. One of these times there's going to be moves made, and it's going to get a little crazy between those 3 for the win of this race as we're closing in on the end of it. And of course, I don't know if these guys, if they all group together, these 4, they might have a shot at catching up. You know, they've been pretty close for this whole run, just barely inching closer and closer. Once they sniff that draft, though, they'll be right on the back bumper of these guys again. And we'll have a big race for the lead. Man, oh man, this is gearing up to be quite an exciting finish to this race. Oh, and here we go, move for the lead.
There goes Joshua Michaels to the inside of Ricky Freeman Jr. Michaels now trying to take the lead for the first time this race, and he'll be easily be able to clear Ricky Freeman Jr. So now move Joshua Michaels to the lead with about 15 laps to go in this race. And he's taking Ryan Caggiano with him, and Cody Goforth, and Kyle Corbett. They're all working their way around Ricky Freeman Jr. The dominant driver of the race so far. He's now falling back to just within the top 5.
Yeah, Ricky Freeman Jr. got passed in just about the worst spot. He got stuck on that outside lane. Nobody behind him to help him with the draft. And of course, it's dirty up there. It's not the preferred lane. Don't want to get stuck up there, and he did. It's going to be tough for him to recover, of course. We're going to see what that car is truly made of after that, because now he's going to have a lot of cars to pass to try to get back up front. And two Kings Motorsports cars leading the way here. The 18 and the 81 looking really, really good out front.
Yeah, Autumn Koger was his teammate and gave him a space to slide in. We're talking about Ricky Freeman Jr. still. But back at the front, Joshua Michaels looking for his 2nd win of the season. Ryan Caggiano looking for his 1st win of the season. Cody Goforth in 3rd, looking for his 1st career win ever. So, as is Kyle Corbett in 4th, and Ricky Freeman Jr. back in 5th. But all these guys have got to be thinking about the end of the race. Where do you want to be when you make that move? Because it's not a guarantee that the leader is going to be winning this race when they get back around on the final lap. We saw it in the Truck Series race yesterday. So Michaels has got to be very careful about what he does. He's fine as long as he has his teammate behind him. But that could change right here as Cody Goforth makes a move for 2nd here.
Yeah, the 01 looks good now on the inside of that 81. Of course, he lost all of his help, and the 81 is going to get a draft down the front straightaway. Oh, it won't be enough to clear going into turn 1, and now the 91 of Ricky Freeman Jr. helping that 01 car on the bottom. And we'll see if this move is going to be able to work. Right now, this is exactly what the 18 wants to see. Side-by-side racing behind him. It's only slowing these guys down, punching a huge hole in the air. And he is able to gain a lot of time on these drivers. And it looks like that 01 car is going to get it done and clear for 2nd place. And here comes Ricky Freeman Jr. trying to follow him into turn 1.
This is a redemption year for Cody Goforth. He had a very bad year last year in the Superstar Series. Only 2 top 10s, finished outside the top 30 in points. And he moved down here. He's found a home at Team J-Spring, and wouldn't it be something if he could go past Joshua Michaels and win this race? We've got under 10 to go now. If he can get around Joshua Michaels and win this race, give Team J-Spring back-to-back wins, that would be an incredible story to keep our eye on. But he's still got to get around Joshua Michaels to make that happen. And Michaels is doing everything he can to stay out in the lead, because this is his golden opportunity too with King's Motorsports, and he is taking full advantage.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And this is Cody Goforth has been able to close right up on this 18. He got a little loose there, had to let out of the throttle, but yeah, you know, he has moved up through the pack of these front cars. I mean, everybody kind of pounced when the 91 fell all the way back, getting stuck on the outside there, and now this thing is up for grabs. Everybody can see it, see that lead, and they're going to try to make a move for it. I think Cody Goforth has a genuine shot right here to make a move to possibly win this race against the 18 car.
8 laps to go from Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and right now it is a Toyota 1-2-3 at the moment. 2 Fords running 4th, and 5th Kyle Corbett's Chevrolet 6th, the leader of those cars. But we've got 7 laps to go in this race now, and Michaels holds a pretty firm lead over Goforth right now. Michaels, I'm sure, would rather have Ryan Caggiano behind him because that's his teammate. He'll race him clean and fair. Cody Goforth's a bit of a wild card here, but as Caggiano makes a move for the 2nd position, Goforth manages to shut the door on him. Coming to 6 laps to go now. Goforth's got to close up more than this, and he's got to make a move soon. Otherwise, all these hungry drivers behind him are going to strike.
Yeah, especially Ricky Freeman Jr. You can see he's making a move just about every single lap, trying to get by. Of course, that time he got a little loose, and there's a big gap now between himself and Ryan Caggiano. That allows Caggiano to have the opportunity to make a move without a lot of fear of losing a position, but they have got to push and push and push to try to catch up to that 18 car. He has been out there by just a couple tenths, but nobody's been able to close the gap since the 01 has moved into 2nd place, and again the 01 has to get out of the throttle, and it allows Michaels to pull away just a little bit more.
We're coming to 4 laps to go in this race, and we've got the top 7 cars all of a shot at winning. Now Freeman gets underneath Caggiano, try and take 3rd away. He's going to do that pretty easily. We've got 4 laps to go now, and I don't know, is Freeman going to be willing to help Goforth catch the 18? No. Or is he just going to try and make a pass himself?
Yeah,
because if he helped the 01...
Nope, he's going for it himself. Yeah, it's not even worth, because he knows he can get up there. He's been leading this whole race. He has a shot to go and take it back, and he doesn't want that 01 to be impeding his way. He knows that the 01 hasn't been able to catch up even with the 81's help, so he's going to go and do it himself, and it's probably going to work. We're going to have to see. He's running out of time.
2.5 laps to go from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Can Ricky Freeman Jr. make up a 1/4 second, get around Joshua Michaels, and score a big win here in the Stratosphere 300? Coming to 2 laps to go now, and Ricky Freeman Jr. is just mere feet away from retaking this lead for keeps. But if Ryan Caggiano is going to get to try and help his teammate, because I don't think he's going to be able to win from that position. The only thing left he can do is help Joshua Michaels win this race. And we're coming to the white flag this time. He's got to make a move on the 91 and hope he gets him out of the way.
And Ricky Freeman Jr. is just not close enough, and the 81 is too close to him. Like you were saying, I think that 81 is just putting enough pressure, making the 91 play enough defense. It's not going to be enough. We're going to have to see. He's got a big draft down through turn 1. He's going to make his move regardless of the situation coming into turn 3.
Could we see something similar to what happened in the truck race yesterday? Group 3 and 4 for the final time. It's going to be a drag race. Off of turn 4, Freeman gets loose, and Joshua Michaels scores his 2nd win of the season in the Stratosphere 300 by 8/100ths of a second over Ricky Freeman Jr. That was a very close finish. A bit closer, I think, than Michaels would have hoped for. But regardless, he is the winner here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Ricky Freeman Jr. gets his best finish in second. Likewise, Kyle Corbett gets his best in third. Ahead of Ryan Caggiano fourth. Cody Goforth rounds out the top 5. Autumn Koger sixth. Keon Daly 7th. Zachary DeLella makes it 2 Team Dayspring cars in the top 10. Just ahead of Jillian Young in 9th. And Nicky Martinez takes the final top 10 spot just ahead of Kasim Adnan in the 1. That was a very intense battle for the race win, and like the truck race yesterday, we had no idea who was going to take it until the final corner.
That was an incredible move from the 91. I didn't think he was going to be able to get that close on the last lap, but he just had a little bit left in the tank at the very end there, and kind of put it all on the table and just could not keep the throttle down coming out of turn 4. And I'll tell you what, man, what a finish! Absolutely fantastic. In the whole race, they were right there battling for the win, and the most dominant car didn't win, but you know, any of those guys really deserved it and had a shot at the end. So congratulations to the 18 team. They earned it today. They had to pass a guy that was a little bit faster even at the end, and man, oh man, what a race. Las Vegas has not disappointed this weekend yet.
And we do have to report that Chris Lattimore in the 87 had an extended stay on pit road near the end of the race. He will finish 10 laps down in this race in the 42nd position. We'll try and diagnose what happened with the 87 and report that to you, what happened to Lattimore's race in the post-race. But from Duke Anzac and for myself as well, like he said, Las Vegas Motor Speedway has not disappointed so far this weekend. And this series heads off to Ohio as well next week. But they're headed to the Circuit Decatur for race number 5. It's going to be their first race on a road course this season at the Decatur. So this is going to be a very interesting battle. And man, if these races are anything to go off of, expect Decatur to be just as fun as well. So from Duke Anzac and from myself as well, we say goodbye from Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and congratulations to Joshua Michaels. He had the work for it, but he is your first 2-time winner in the 1UP Nitro National Series season of 2022.